Whether you have a diagnosis or not, I don't care. Jump inside this podcast and I'm going to teach you how to read your own blood work so you can find the answers to your health concerns. Yes, those normal labs that your doctor keeps saying, oh, they look great, we'll see you again in 6 months. They really have answers in them if you know how to read it correctly. So come join me along this journey, leave a review, and share with your friends. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Beyond the Diagnosis podcast with me, your host, Dr. Kylie. I have I always bring you special guests, but this one is very, very special because I know a lot of you practitioners out there are always looking at other certifications and ways to improve your knowledge base. Well, I have the founder of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition on with me, Reed Davis. Reed, welcome on.
Thanks so much, Dr. Kylie. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, I know we were chatting earlier, but I'm like, wait, let's just hit record so we can get all this. Walk me through your background and how you even created FDN.
Well, it's all thanks to chiropractic, believe it or not. But I was in environmental law. So before I went to University of San Diego and I was out there in the world.
Are you a lawyer by trade?
No, I'm a paralegal, but I was saving the planet, air, birds, water, trees, bees. I love being outdoors. I ride motorcycles and I garden and I landscape. And I love my backyard. You know, I have some acres and of course, then I have a few hundred square miles of Southern California to enjoy. And so I'm out there saving the planet. And I started thinking about people. Well, what about people? And what about me? Like, is this what's killing all the animals and things? I'm fine. Is that going to affect me? And so I thought, yeah. And I went to work I switched gears. So I went to work for my son's chiropractor. And she was an amazing doctor, did some wellness, mostly wellness and chiropractic. And I started talking with her about my vision for wellness and for saving people, not just the planet. And she was all on board, and I ended up working there for 10 years. And I got my nutrition. She was getting her diplomate in nutrition, said I could go along. She said, hey, as long as you do my homework for me, you'll get a certificate. And just kidding. But, you know, we were having a riot helping people she said, if I went to all of these classes with her for her diplomat, I would become a CNT, nutritional therapist, and I could work on her patients between my lessons. And I thought, what an opportunity, you know. So I ended up running the place. I was the health director within just a couple of months and working with her patients. And that's when I really fell in love, Kylie, with face-to-face and all these people coming in who were just desperately searching for wellness, not just for a neck or back, but they had, you name it. Fibromyalgia was big back then. Kids all had ADD and just this stuff. So my claim to fame wasn't the nutrition training or the personal fitness training I did myofascial therapy. I mean, I really, really took this to heart, but it was running labs. And I just went wild. I ran thousands of labs with thousands of people over that 10-year period. And I had good mentors, but I also learned a lot. First of all, I had a lot to learn, obviously, but I didn't have anything to unlearn. Like with modern medicine, I didn't know anything.
I had a lot to unlearn in my life. So I was taught the food pyramid and the food plate and how the dairy is all full of calcium. I mean, there's a lot I had to unlearn.
Yeah, so I feel you. And that's what I notice about a lot of physicians is they just know too much to get some more stuff in there. But no, I had read a book when I was 19 called Healing Ourselves by Nobuo Muramoto. He's a Japanese acupuncturist. It was all in English, of course. So Healing Ourselves, I read that when I was 19. Well, here I am in my late 40s and or mid 40s at least, and starting a new career in wellness. And I always thought back to that, like we're responsible. So I couldn't help. I'm trying to give you the quick introduction here. So I'm out riding my motorcycle and I'm just thinking about the people back at the office. And I thought, this is a ripoff I'd never really been to the doctor other than chiropractic and dental and for a few boo-boos from sports, but never really for anything else. And I couldn't believe these people were getting, I just thought rip off. What do you mean you've been to 8 practitioners and you're not better yet? Well, what'd you spend your money? And anyway, you know the story. So I said, I'm going to be the last person they need to see.
That was my goal too as a practitioner, was to be the last person that people told the same story to, because I wanted to change it.
Yeah, I mean, I call that the cycle of trial and error. They've been to doctors, have been told nothing's wrong with you, or here's your pill for whatever, some diagnosis, and they're still not better. And they go to the next one and the next one. So anyway, my claim to fame is running thousands of labs with thousands of people. I didn't know what I was doing, but I kept sort of having miracles, like run a test and all of a sudden this lady's skin condition went away, or migraines went away, or kids with ADD. I had a principal of a school once track me down and say, what'd you put Billy on? Because his behavior had changed. I said, what I put him on was a better bedtime schedule, a better diet, took him off all the crap. And he just wanted the pills if there was pills. So anyway, so I had miracle after miracle, if you could call them that, it's just the body healing itself when you
gave it the tools.
So these labs, so finally in, after almost 10 years, everyone said, Reed, you're helping a lot of people, but you could help a lot more if you would teach other practitioners. So I started this I just called it deputizing. I didn't even have a name for what I did. I was just a nutritionist, personal trainer, myofascial therapist working in a chiropractic office who specialized in lab work. And, no one ever asked me, you're not a doctor. How come you can run all this lab work? I just did it. And then finally, this lab director calls me up and goes, who the hell are you? Like, how do you run so many labs? How many doctors are working there? I said, well, I'm the only one running your labs. He said, you do as much as our next 5 busiest doctors combined. Wow. And I didn't know I couldn't do it. I just thought, well, that's cool.
But labs, are you just like running the regular labs? Because I'm a lab nut too. I love labs.
Yeah.
Like CBC, metabolic panel, thyroid panel, lipid panel, like normal things.
Well, it was saliva, urine, blood, stool. It was looking for everything, causal factor. And I think you'll like this, Kylie, because, again, when you're not a medical doctor, you can't diagnose and treat and anything specifically. And what I found out is there wasn't a single patient that wanted another diagnosis. They wanted to know what's wrong. So remember, this is years, thousands of labs, lots of observations that I made on my own. Good memory, and I identified this kind of constellation of what I call healing opportunities. And I'm also organized and I like to teach, and you have to come up with systems. If you're going to teach anyone anything, you better be a system. And so this HIDDEN occurred to me. I was testing the hormones, obviously the saliva testing. We did the immune system, which you can see on a saliva test, secretory IgA, hormone immune, digestion, detoxification, liver function, energy production, and then the nervous system balance, which if you learn nothing else from chiropractic, you learn about the autonomic nervous system. So it spelled for me HIDDEN eventually. So that became my investigative pattern. You could throw in oxidative stress and some other things, but hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy production, nervous system.
Whoa. Hormone.
Hidden.
I got hidden written down. Hormone, immune, digestion,
detoxification, energy production, and nervous system, HIDDEN. And so now, again, there's some other things you could throw in there, but that was a cool pattern that just, occurred to me. And the labs are easy to do. Most of them are at-home testing, as you know. The blood work we do is finger stick, except for one blood work. So finger stick blood work, saliva testing, urine testing, stool testing, easy to do. Was sending people home with kits. When I was out lecturing, I would have kits in my trunk and look like a drug dealer out in the parking lot of the library and stuff like that.
Handed out all our test kits.
was so funny.
I love it.
Now everyone drop ships. So back then you had to stock them and carry them around with you and stuff. But anyway, thousands of labs, thousands of people, and that pattern of investigation occurred to me. No matter what their chronic downward spiraling stress related condition was. Again, I wasn't looking for a diagnosis or disease. I couldn't, and found out didn't want to. But then the other thing I noticed, so I had this way of investigating, but at the same time was realizing that I had to put the power back in the hands of the people. It wasn't you need to come and see me. It's what you did between visits. So as a nutritionist, a personal trainer, and so again, I was working with a chiropractor with myofascial and adjusting obviously and other modalities and things. But I kept telling people it's what you do at home. Coming in the office is great. It's what you do at home. And I came up with this lifestyle pattern. It's a holistic epigenetic program. It's called DRESS. Obviously, it spells dress for health success. That's diet and rest, not just sleep, but rest. Then exercise, of course. And the two S's are stress reduction and supplementation. And, so diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplements. And I went from that being a one-sheet piece of paper. I would just go diet, eat according to your metabolic type, rest, go to bed early, get up early, get a good night. Just simple one sheet to now it's basically a book, and it's a whole huge segment of the certification course that I teach. So it's all the labs, HIDDEN investigation. And then people are freaking out, as you know, when you've done this many times, I know, is people go, wow, I can't believe you figured it out. Like, how come no one else works like this? And gee, I went to my doctor. He said nothing's wrong with me. It's all in your head. Take a chill pill or something.
Take an antidepressant medication. Here's some more thyroid, levothyroxine. Yep.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, since you mentioned it, so we had this lady coming in. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing a lot of it at first. And so she's looking really down. She's in for about her 8th chiropractic visit. She'd hurt herself in the gym, and I have to write that personal trainer and thank them for all the customers they sent us. There was just I was hurting people.
That good, huh?
Yeah, she was a great personal trainer. Anyway, we get this lady in for her neck, and I'm walking them back all the time for a little trigger point therapy and a heat pack. And then Doc would come in and give them their adjustments. And I could tell she was sad. I said, hey, what's going on? And she's, it's this weight. I'm 40 pounds overweight, and it's really frustrating me. Of course, I'm like, oh, well, what are we going to do about that? Let's get started. She's, no, there's nothing I could do. She's mad. She says, nothing I could do. I'm on this medication for the hives. And there's nothing I could do about it. I've had the hives for 2 years. I've been on this medication for 2 years. And before I could say the next thing, she goes, and Reed, I was at the doctor the other day, and I told him how frustrating it was with the 40 pounds. And he said, lady, you could have your choice. You could be fat or you can have the hives. Take your pick. And then when she said, well, that's depressing, he said, I'll be happy to write your prescription for it.
Oh my gosh.
So when I said to her, I said, did you ever try to find out why you get the hives? And her head was down. She snapped her head. I thought she wouldn't need her adjustment that day. Her head snapped. I hear this. What? What do you mean? I go, yeah, we could maybe find out why you get the hives and deal with it at that level. So just, you know how it goes. You got hundreds of stories like that where you just look for data. I call it gathering intelligence. Let's gather some intel, and then we'll get you on. Will you still use the principles of healing, the time-honored general principles of healing? But we got to figure out what you need to quit eating, add to your diet, whatever it is, environment and things like that. So that's just one story. Since you mentioned the antidepressants, I had to tell that story. And so people go and they're not getting the right testing because doctors want to diagnose and treat something specific. Reductionism doesn't work. So we've been outperforming that reductionism for 20 years by looking at the whole constellation of healing opportunities and applying the general principles of health building found in our dress program. And now, since 2008, I'm in teaching. That's my background.
No, isn't it the best? Like my mom's a school teacher, and she's always like, "You're going to be teaching." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I want nothing to do with school teaching. But hey, I teach. That's what we do now. We just teach other things to practitioners, right?"
Yeah. Yeah, well, Weston Price, his dying words. He's famous. I'm sure all the professional people know Weston Price, the famous nutritionist and researcher. He actually was a dentist, but he on his deathbed, they said, "What's your secret?" He goes, "Teach, you teach, you teach." And I think I'm going to end up the same way. I just keep teaching. I can't imagine retiring or anything. Just the work is so joyful. When you turn lives around like that lady that I'm talking about, or another lady came in and she was getting chiropractic and she said on the way out one day, "Reed, do you think you could help my son?" I said, "I don't know. What's going on?" She goes, "They're telling me that either I put him on Ritalin or he's going to get kicked out of school." And this is 20 years ago when Ritalin was the thing. I said, "Well, do you think he has a Ritalin deficiency?" And I thought that was funny, but she didn't, like she's like, "No, this is serious. I'm trying to help I don't want to put him on drugs." I said, "I don't know if I can help or not." But I asked her, does the school have a nurse or a doctor and diagnose your? No, this is just teachers telling her, and a principal telling her to put the kid on drugs or he's going to get kicked out. I said, "I don't know if I can help or not." Ran some labs, found out he's sensitive. He's not going to bed on time. There's a bunch of things. Changed his life around. And within 3 weeks, the principal of the school tracked me down and said, "What'd you put Billy on?" Just like as if it was some drug. And no,
like some pill that magically fixed it all.
Yeah, I started telling you that before we hit the record button, but it's just one of those moments where you feel so freaking good, just talk about emotionally rewarding,
Right. And that's where we get into this idea of burnout. People will say, "I'm so burnt out." And I've had a flip of mindset where people will say to me, "If you keep going at this pace, you're going to get burnt out." And I'm like, I could go at this pace for years. I love it. I love what I'm doing. And so we can take that background of, you just said, retirement doesn't seem any fun to you. What are you going to do in retirement? You're just going to keep doing what you do because you love it. There's no sign of burnout. There's just, I love what I do. I love the lives I'm changing. And now you get to change so many more of them because you're on the education side. Now you're training people like me and other health coaches and practitioners. Hey, you've got this hidden philosophy that as you pull out the blood work, I call them puzzle pieces. The more puzzle pieces that you get in the labs, the better. I always tell people, if you're missing puzzle pieces, you can't put your whole puzzle together. So you might as well get as many puzzle pieces as your doctor will allow, and even tell them what to take if the case need be. So you got hidden, you got dress, where you're going to change the diet, change their sleeping patterns, change their exercise, change their stress reduction, and supplement with things that they need. And it's like, that's something that we can all take and then go educate our patients about.
Exactly. Another thing that I thought about a lot early on was besides that these people were wasting their money or getting ripped off, that bothered me a lot. But that they were putting their health in someone else's hands bothered me a lot too. I'm out riding my motorcycle. I have freedom, and I've kind of lived my life that way, and the wind's blowing through where my hair's supposed to be, and I'm thinking how great it is to be free. And, I had another career where I did very well for myself. So I'm not saying I didn't have to work, but I was doing well. And when I changed the careers to working with people, and I thought, man, why are they putting their health in someone else's hands? They're going from practitioner to practitioner to practitioner. They're not learning anything except for what doesn't work, which is reductionism, like
take another pill and to change that dosage.
One problem, one part, one fix. And I think you'll get this too. Even functional medicine today, because it's being practiced mostly by licensed medical doctors, osteopaths and what have you, they're still bound by the diagnosis and treatment paradigm. That's their standard of care. They can't bill, they can't do anything with a DX code and a TX code, and it's so limiting. And you find them really, even though they're trying to work on a functional level, they're still passing their patients around because they're trained in endocrinology. And the lady has GI problems. Oh, you got to go to the gastroenterologist. Also, that's how insurance works. So there's really some serious problems still going on. But the independent practitioners, a lot of chiropractors trained in functional medicine, all of the practitioners I teach, we call them allied practitioners. They're people with some college degree. They've got a certificate or two in something useful, whether it's nutrition or personal training or fitness. Obviously, chiropractors and acupuncturists fit big into this category where you just need the training, and then you can be the go-to community leader that is thriving on a referral-based waiting list kind of a practice. One of my graduates, I heard just yesterday, has 70 people on her waiting list. Just can't see enough of them. Now she needs to just hire some more of my graduates, but
she needs to create some group programs so she can see all 70 people at one time.
I agree. Yeah, we do a lot of teaching on the back end. We have a very thriving alumni from the course, and they're all helping each other with peer support. But we have a lot of benefits, continuous education, including the business training. That's something you didn't get in chiropractic school.
No,
you come out.
That's not my mission.
Yeah,
my mission is to do the business side, because I see so many genius practitioners who are so smart. They know how to get people better. They're doing everything right, and yet they just struggle to bring in a patient.
I'm with you.
And they're still making like $40 per adjustment, and I'm like, no, screw that.
Yeah, it's okay to adjust when they need adjusting, but what else? They obviously, that's how we developed FDN. Was working in a chiropractic office where the people were game. Just tell me what's wrong with me and tell me what to do to fix it, and I'll do it. And they pay cash.
Yeah,
and so
do 6-week programs and 10-week programs and have everything included that they need to heal, not just a piece of things here and there. So,
yeah.
So cool. Tell me more about FDN and how they can learn more about it.
Well, it's a name that I came up with when I had to. I was just a nutritionist, again, and working in a chiropractic office, a really good CA, the kind everyone wants in their office. And I brought in a lot of business, and I helped people get well. I kept them compliant to their chiropractic schedules as well. I used to sell 40, 50 adjustment packages left and right. And along with what I did for them, which was the DRESS program and running the labs and the whole thing. So when I decided to have my first class, I had to have a name for it. And it just occurred to me that because I saw we were an alternative. We were straight up alternative. That became complementary. That became integrative. And finally, around the time I started teaching, functional medicine was in its infancy, I'd say. So I said, I'll call it functional something. And in diagnostic in nature, even though I say I don't do diagnosing, it's no medical diagnosis. Like my motorcycle, if it breaks down, I take it in. They diagnose it. So it's that kind of a thing. So it's functional, diagnostic in nature, and then nutrition, because I was a nutritionist, and it's not medicine per se. It could be lifestyle medicine now, but anyway, functional diagnostic nutrition we're in 50 countries. It's referred to as FDN. And so what I learned in those 10 years, a lot of what I learned since, I teach in about 10 months. And I've had so many masters and PhD people say, hey, you could have saved me a lot of money and a lot of time, because it's so practical. It's the only course of its kind, because it's based in 10 years of face-to-face with Mr. Smith and Mrs. Jones, who were suffering, and looking them in the eye and running the right labs and figuring what that pattern looks like, and then teaching them what to do, empowering them. So it's not something I learned from a lab or, in a weekend seminars or things. It's what I did in the in the office, like grinding it out for 10 years. So I teach that, and it's people fall in love with it. So now, guess what? Even after my first class, I said, okay, go forth, multiply, do what I just taught you. And they're like, no. I mean, they wouldn't go away. From the first class of 20 people, now we've taught over 4,000. But so we have a very strong alumni called the Association of FDN Professionals. And it's a tremendous group, supportive. Now, of course, we've got some accreditations and things like that. Nothing, stuff I never really cared about, but you kind of have to go that way. But we teach people how to figure out what's wrong and fix it, or get the person to fix it. So it's very holistic in what you look for. You're basically uncovering obstacles to healing. This is what I was taught the chiropractic was on the first day. You uncover obstacles to healing. If it's pressure on nerves and misalignments of the spine, you got to fix it. But then what about everything else? That's how it developed. So we remove interferences to healing, which could even be in the mind and emotions of the person, let alone everything else they're doing with their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like that part of the puzzle?
That was brand new to me. When I got into the world of functional medicine, I just thought I was going to have to take people off all this junk food. And then I realized, wait, most of the people have already started the elimination diet and they're eating nothing but rice and chicken. And I got to get food back in to their bodies.
Yeah.
Then it was like, wait a second, I can only supplement and treat physical symptoms so much. What goes on in their mind and the experiences that they've the life changes, and whether you want to call them big T or little T traumas affecting their health where they are now, like it has to be multifaceted if they're truly going to heal. And so many people just think, oh, I just need physical supplementation and physical treatments and ozone therapy and this IV and that supplement. And it's like, that's only one piece of the puzzle. If you really want to truly heal and heal for decades, you got to dig deep, and you got to uncover some things that probably aren't comfortable uncovering and healing from them.
Yeah, uncovering obstacles to healing and then creatively overcoming them. Some of them really take some creativity, especially around that topic. I would run labs on a guy. Most of our patients were women, but fellas want to be smarter and do better, especially as they get older. And they would say, okay, so you figured it out. They ran the labs. Tell me what to take. As if it was just going to be something out of a bottle, you know. And I said, well, when was the last time you? Why don't you take your wife out to dinner? What? And I go, why don't you take a walk around the block? You know, 2 or 3 times a week. Why don't you take, you know, either that or it's take a hike, because I'm not just going to sell you supplements. Much as I think they're important, it's just not about what you take.
Well, they're called supplements for a reason. They're supposed to supplement a healthy diet and lifestyle, not replace. They're not called replacements.
You're so right. And on supplements, I use the 4 S's of supplements. So it's substitution for what's not in food anymore. Because I grew up in Canada, both my grandfathers grew their own food. My brother and I had to shovel manure and work it into the compost pile and stuff. You know, we ate really good, nutritious food, but you can't buy that stuff anywhere. So you substitute for what's missing in food. Then you also can use them to support certain organs or systems. You can support digestion. You can support the adrenals or the thyroid. You can also stimulate, like, that's another S, the immune system, for instance. If you're going on a trip, you want to stimulate that. And then lastly, the 4th S is self-treatment. Because, you know, I don't treat anything, but I can teach someone what the issues are, what the healing opportunities are. And then they can make their choice if they want to go to a physician for a treatment. You know, if you have got parasites or bacteria or fungal overgrowth, or you could self-treat. So substitution for what's missing in food, stimulation and support of certain organs and systems, and then of course self-treatment, the 4 S's of supplementation. But you're so right. You still have to eat.
Yep. Gotta eat. Gotta eat. You gotta exercise. You gotta sleep. You gotta do the stress reduction thing. I recently got eyelash extensions like in the last 6 months.
Nice.
And I've been wanting them for a while, but it was that idea of I don't have 2 hours every 2 weeks to go lay on a table and close my eyes. People can do this. And then I was like, wait a second, that's going to force me to lay on a table, to close my eyes, and to do nothing.
Yeah.
And for me, that's my de-stressing time. So it's a time where I look forward to. It's not like this burden where I have to fit it in and pay for it now. It's like, wait a second, I'm actually making time out of my normal routine to do nothing.
That's your self-care time. And I totally respect it a lot. Yeah. And, I don't know what to say about it. They look good and everything like that. But
so our point is force time into your schedule, whether it be 5 minutes, like during my workday, I'll do my hour and a half long, and then I'm going to go walk outside for 10 minutes. And just those extra breaks during not only are you going to be more productive, but the time away from the screen, the relaxation time, the switching that mindset into something else is very healthy too.
Yeah, agreed completely. Behind the screen, it's covering up my office / junk room. But I have a sauna behind the screen, and I have right next to it is an elliptical machine.
Nice.
And right next to that is a daybed, so I can nap. But
I told my husband when I'm done having kids, I might do one more thing here in the next little while. But like when I'm done having kids, I'm gonna get me a Peloton, and that Peloton is gonna be the thing that I do. Not only because I love spin bikes, but being able to jump on for 20 minutes and doing a HIIT session with some trainer on a Peloton, like sign me up. I'm all for that. So I might be doing some podcast episodes with my workout attire on and sweating but hey, it's totally worth it.
My wife is a big Peloton fan.
She have one then?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have a gym out and I have a casita with the gym, but she works out with people around the world. She's from Trinidad and she lived in London for 18 years. So she's got these friends around the world and they hook up and do that. It's a wonderful thing. So DRESS, exercise, it goes without saying, you can't be healthy if you don't do it.
Yeah. And exercise doesn't mean you just go to the gym and lift weights or go running on the treadmill. Like there's so many ways to exercise. It's just get the body moving and do something that you love so that you actually do it.
So every day, my dad told me early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. And so I've been a pretty good promoter. He taught me how to sell Christmas cards when I was 12, and I made this money selling Christmas cards.
Hey, that's an important skill to have.
It was for Boy Scouts at first, and I won the prize that Christmas for selling the most Christmas cards because he showed me how easy it is to sell, basically. But my point was going to be that I get up early, and by 1 o'clock, I've already got in 8 hours, or 6 or 7, depending on what time it is. But I start early, get my work out of the way, so that, point being, I can get outside and work in my yard. I have some acres, and I have a lot of landscaping to do. I have my own tractor. I have a skid steer, and I move big boulders, and I get out, and I'm constantly lifting heavy rocks, and we put in all these natural stone stairs and things.
So pretty. Where are you at?
I'm in outside of San Diego. I'm up in the hills.
I thought you said Southern California. So
yeah, I'm in the hills east of San Diego, a place called Lakeside. I live right on a lake. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
Not Lake Tahoe, different lake.
It's way south of there, not as big as Lake Tahoe, but very pretty. Fish and all that stuff.
Perfect for your outdoor stuff. All right, guys, if you're listening to this and you're thinking I'm interested in this FDN training, Reed, where do they go?
fdntraining.com/beyond the diagnosis in honor of your show, your podcast. So it's fdntraining.com/beyond the diagnosis.
And what's waiting for them there?
Well, there's a number of cool offers. You can get start the course for free. You can get the course tour. You can decide if you are there for yourself, you just want to work on yourself, or if you want to do it as a profession, or just if you're already a professional, get some extra training that you won't find anywhere else. It's a very robust course. It's not.
And you said it's practical, which is my jam.
Incredibly.
I'm all about practicality.
Yeah, it's what I learned, 10 years of Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones in the office crying with tears, and the labs we ran and the protocols that we sorted out. Again, it took a lot of sorting out to come up with a system that anyone could do. These are mostly at-home tests, so they're not expensive. Anyone could do them. Now, and by the way, we have a medical director program, so we offer the labs to any physician, practitioner, anywhere in the country can just use our program to get the labs done on their patients or clients who are in other states and other countries even. So cool. It's very remarkable. You go there and figure it all out.
Okay. fdntraining.com/beyond the diagnosis. Thanks, Reed.
Hey, very, very good to talk with you, Kylie. I enjoyed the shop talk.
Ready to have all of your blood work compiled in one location where you can easily read it all together? Well, go grab my book, Why Are My Labs Normal, on Amazon. Grab it, learn how to read your own labs, and take the power back in your hands, because your normal blood work is loaded with answers. You just got to have the right person reading it, and the right person can be you. Go grab it on Amazon, Why Are My Labs Normal by Dr. Kylie Burton. Leave a review, and we'll see you on the next episode.